Gentleman yields. Chair recognizes Representative Gonzalez for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman Graves and Ranking Member Larson, for holding today's member hearing. As you prepare your agenda for the second session of the 119th Congress, I appreciate the opportunity to highlight two key issues affecting South Texas: modernizing local drainage infrastructure and ongoing efforts to construct a seawater desalination plant in the Corpus Christi region. South Texas is disproportionately prone to severe flooding from heavy rainstorms and hurricanes due to our landscape and aging infrastructure. The Raymondville Drain will improve our region's ability to withstand flooding by building new drainage channels, widening existing ones, and making additional improvements to approximately a 63-mile drainage system from Edinburgh, Texas, all the way to the Laguna Madre on the coast. Over the last few years, South Texas has suffered multiple major floods that have cost our region hundreds of millions of dollars in damage. The completion of this project is critical to mitigating future floods and enhancing drainage capacity. It's also cost-effective in the long term, will save the federal government billions of dollars to prevent a widespread damage of another disaster. For families I represent in the region, excessive rainfall and these dangerous floods have forced many to evacuate their homes and abandon their businesses while waiting to be rescued. For example, according to NOAA, a devastating 3-day flooding that we experienced last year resulted in $100 million in damage. This was just a short 3-day slight flooding that we had. Congress must do more to effectively address the risk of severe flooding in communities like ours. Therefore, it's crucial that projects like the Raymondville Drain continue to move forward. This was originally authorized in 1986. Boy, I was in high school when this was happening. So that's 38 years ago. I urge both this committee and the Army Corps to stay focused on quickly completing projects like the Raymondville Drain to ensure they don't lose momentum. Once the Raymondville Drain is completed, it will substantially improve stormwater management. And I urge this project. The insurance industry was in my office not too long ago asking me how can we de-risk and improve conditions so we can continue selling policies in places like Texas and Florida and others. Well, this is a project that if we don't invest in, when we get a category 3 or 4, which will eventually come, it will cost the government billions and billions of dollars for us to recover. This reminds me of the levee in New Orleans before that storm, that if it had been fixed at a drop in a bucket price, would have just prevented massive devastation that occurred in that region. So it's an important project. It's something that we should be looking at from a national security perspective. Additionally, I want to talk about a desalination plant in the Corpus Christi region, something that y'all might have read about recently. There is a massive water shortage in Nueces County, Corpus Christi, a major energy exporting port that we have there. We don't have the water to sustain a long-term economic vision in terms of energy and just the sustaining water for the population that lives there. It was recently on the front page of the Wall Street Journal. This is a major impact and a national security issue for the country. The small community cannot sustain this type of investment. We need the federal government to step in. For example, the city of Corpus Christi is currently facing a severe water shortage and is projected to hit a level of 1 water emergency by November of 2026. If this happens, Corpus Christi will be forced to enact a mandatory 25% cut across the board in municipal water use, which will be devastating to the area. But more than anything, I want to bring attention to the oil and gas. It's the largest oil and gas exporting port outside of Houston in the country and one in the world. It really requires the federal government to step in and fix this. We need potable water for the community and the population of Corpus, and we also need the water resources to assure we can continue to export energy to the world and to sustain our economic viability for the region. I urge this committee to please place close attention to these two projects. One would save hundreds of billions of dollars in the event of just a Category 3 or 4 that will inevitably hit our state at some point in the southern part of the state. And then the other aspect is this energy exporting that will come to a halt, and it'll be devastating also to the people that live in Corpus Christi. So with that, I yield back.
Gentleman yields. Chair recognizes Representative Moskowitz.